What is crack-a-lackin', everybody? Hello and welcome back to Gaming 101 with Mr. Berger. Tonight we're going to take a look at these two spawner decks that I used to complete the Retro Royale challenge on both of my accounts. And yes, by the time that you see this video, Retro Royale will probably be over already, but as I mentioned in another one of my videos, these special challenges often come back into play in the future, so we'll probably be seeing it again. So, first off, we're going to take a look at the deck that I used to complete my challenge on my main account, my Thaddeus account. And this is a spawner deck with the Barbarian Hut and the Goblin Hut. And we got our giant skeleton in there is our main tank and kind of our hard counter defensive card. We got the mini P.E.K.K.A because he's a heavy hitter and he got buffed. I got a heavy spell, a medium spell, which is the fireball. Hey, it's great all around, and there's no poison in this meta. And then of course I got zap. Why not have zap? There's no log, and you want a weak spell, so let's toss that zap in there. I chose minions and archers for my support cards, because they're two of my favorite cheap support cards. So, the idea behind this deck, what I'm doing here is kind of playing defense, kind of playing it safe, and then building up as many Barbarian Huts and Goblin Huts as I can, and then just going for this massive beatdown. So I found in this particular deck versus the other one that I used on my alt account, which I'll show a little bit later, is that these matches go pretty long. I'll often be running into overtime and winning by a 1-0 win. So I have 3 towers up still, and they lost by only 1 tower. So rarely do you see me go for the 3 crowns with this particular deck. Regardless, it's a lot of fun to play. There's a lot of different variations that you should use, and Retro Royale is not that difficult of a challenge to complete. Don't get me wrong. It's still, you gotta play hard. You're going up against other players. You don't want to just like mess around and take it too easy, right? But it's still not that difficult. There's not too high of stakes because it's a casual challenge. Losses don't count. You can just keep playing until you win and you complete it. So let's take a look at what I do here in this first replay, and then we'll run into a second replay, and then I'm going to take a look at the deck that I used on my alt account, which is a similar variation with the 2 huts, but it's more of like a giant witch beatdown with a rage spell in there as well. Rage spell works great with all these spawners too, because you build up this massive army of units and then you just rage it and everything dies. And as you can see here, I got 4 spawner buildings up. There's not much that he can do at that point because my wave just pummels through what he has. Look at how huge that wave is. And since it's an older meta, it's basically all cards in Retro Royale are cards that came out only at the very beginning of Clash Royale in 2016. So any of the newer cards, which includes all legendaries, are not usable in this particular challenge. So let's hop into another replay here. So this one, I think this one's going to be a little bit longer. We'll see how it goes. So as you can see for my starting plays, I kind of go for the spawner hut, the Goblin Hut, usually in the middle, right around there. I like putting like 3 or 4 tiles upward from my King Tower, and of course 2 tiles to the right and the left of my Princess Towers, right in the center there. So I do a pretty good job of defending against the balloon. Now I got the Spear Goblins chipping away, doing their job as they are known to do in the Spear Goblin Hut. Chipping away at the Princess Tower. He's holding on to his elixir. As you can see now in his hand, he's got a golem, so he's probably going to go for that big push. And his name is Trolling, so we're going to troll Trolling with a Troller Trolling spawner deck. Alright, he's got the big golem coming down the lane. What am I going to do about it here? Well, it looks like I actually opt to go a little bit harder in the right there, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to build up this massive wave. If I put spawner units in the right, you could argue that you want to split them and kind of chip away at both lanes, but I like the idea of committing fully to one lane and just getting this massive push going. And of course I distract the golem with the placement of that top Goblin Hut, and then I use my minions to take out this balloon before it can even make contact with my tower, which is great. On the right side, everything's pushing away, and maybe this isn't going to be a little bit longer of a match. Looks like I was wrong. I decided to allow him to get my tower for the sake of getting the 3 crown, and that was the last match there in that particular deck. Now, as you can see, here's all the replays that I used for my last video. So let's hop into this one right here. So in this variation of the deck, we are again using the 2 spawner buildings, but I'm going for that kind of rage, witch, and golem, giant beatdown archetype. So let's see how it goes. Alright, I use the Goblin Hut to defend, and then I use the witch to do a little bit more damage to the hog there, so that my Goblin Hut isn't completely sacrificed, right? Okay. So the witch is wailing away on the Valkyrie. She gets some damage off on her, enough for her to die before she really gets to anything else. That's good. Archer gets 1 shot off on the Goblin Hut, but it's enough for me to spawn 1 last goblin. Alright, so I got the other spawner hut going. Now he sees that I did that, and he goes hard on the left there. He's going hard in the paint on the left there, and I use my prince to defend. It doesn't work out too well, because that mini P.E.K.K.A is so strong, bro. Mini P.E.K.K.A OP. Anyway, mini P.E.K.K.A annihilates my prince. Hog finishes the tower. It is not looking so hot for me. But let's see how it goes. I know I can win this. What I'm going to often do is just kind of play it safe, and then when I get in overtime, I just get these massive pushes going with all the spawner buildings, and they generally don't have enough spells or anything like that to take care of them. So I just get this ridiculous, insane wave going. So right now the spear goblins are just chipping away at the tower. Looks like he's hanging on to his elixir. He uses a Valkyrie in the front there because he wants to try to defend against everything. That huge wave coming. But as you can see, he committed 4 elixir. All of my buildings spawn all his units, and he did a pretty good job of defending, but that's 4 elixir that he had to use to defend that he doesn't have now, and my wave is still coming in at him. Now I got the giant rolling in, and he has the support of 2 spawner buildings. He uses a hog, which isn't very good for him. Bad placement, unfortunately, because it allows me to use the defensive unit, the witch, and then counter push. I put the rage there to try to benefit as many things as I can. The golem, the giant got a few hits off on the tower, but it didn't quite finish it off. I sent another giant in aggressively at the bridge because I know that I need to go really quickly and try to get that tower down. So I got the prince rolling in. I decided to toss prince in this particular deck just because he's really strong right now. Prince is great in this meta. And the Retro Royale doesn't have too many cards, so your selections are very limited. So Prince is just kind of an overall powerhouse. He's just a really good card right now. He's been buffed a lot recently, so I definitely recommend him too. Now I got a huge army coming up. He sends in the hog, but the hog can't even get anywhere close to my tower. Now I'm just going to support this massive wave. As you can see, I fully committed in the right here, because since I'm running a spawner deck, I want to kind of synergize with all the buildings that I already have down on the right. I want to support that big wave, or allow that big wave to be the support for my push. So rather than trying to get the tower with less health down, I've decided to commit fully in the right there and go for the 3 crown win. Maybe at this point I was also just kind of trying to have a little bit of fun, right? So the barbarians are doing their work. I'm defending a little bit there. I put the witch in the back, and I hit his support, his wizard, with my fireball. That's pretty good. I put the giant all the way up in the front because he's got a lot of support. And I'm going to kind of go aggressive here and try to go for a big push. Or am I? I put the Barbarian Hut all the way down in the back again, and then I rage everything because it's close to the tower. And he does a decent job of defending, but I continue to pressure, and that Barbarian Hut, the 2 Barbarian Huts comboed with the Goblin Hut, are just allowing this wave to continually pressure him. So he's always got to answer it. He's always got to have like some sort of an answer. He's always spending elixir, putting down a Valkyrie, using his arrows, and then it just gets to a point where I overwhelm him. He can't do anything. Give him a GG. So I really like this archetype a little bit better. In the other deck, you can see I almost never, if ever, use the giant skeleton in those replays, because he just, he was good. He's not that bad, but it just didn't I didn't find that I needed him too much. So I like this kind of beatdown archetype a little bit better, with the rage and the golem and the witch, and of course Prince is in there just because, hey, why not? He's OP. Well, that's it for my Retro Royale spawner troller deck video. Thank you everybody for watching. and have a good night.